Alright, so first up on this list here for overclocking gear that you should be looking at is a motherboard. Fairly simple, but you're going to be looking for a certain kind of motherboards. You can go with an older style and save some money. Even the older styles are fairly pricey as well, so pick and choose as you must, but you want to spend the money for the overclocking that you want to do potentially down the future. These motherboards can range from 75 up to $1,000 for the older ones. Any other motherboard, you can just search up and make sure it's an AM5 or if it's a LGA 1700, which is the new CPUs. Those motherboards range from, I've noticed, from $100 up to about $800. So it's up to you for your budget and that, but today we're going to be building on this LGA 1366. It's the Zeus P6 motherboard. It's a triple channel style motherboard. This motherboard works very, very well for overclocking, so that's why I'll be using this motherboard today. So, something to build on, as putting down something like this, which is an older motherboard, they don't usually have backplates. It's all spiky, it's very pokey. You don't want to be damaging your furniture, so you're going to be putting it on a motherboard box. Might as well put it on what it came in, right? It's also good for storage. So this is first and second part that you should really be looking at is motherboard, something to put it on. More or less, you're gonna have to put it over to one side, of course. It is what it is. For this motherboard today, what we're going to be putting into it is 12 gigs of RAM, which is 3x4 for the triple triple channel slots that we have. For the CPU that we're going to be using today, we're going to be using the X5650, which is a Xeon, Intel Xeon CPU, LGA 1366. So as you can see here, it's already lapped. This one here, I did not have to lap the full distance as in full copper. There is still some nickel showing on both sides, as you can see. But this is an X5650 from Intel. Really good CPU for overclocking. It's 6-core, 12-thread. And in my opinion, it's just great to use. So now we're going to install. Fairly easy to do, just put it in the socket, close it down, make sure everything's secure. So the next part of the system, I will not be putting in the RAM. What I'll be doing is starting to build the custom water loop for this. The RAM's just going to be an easier slot. I don't have to worry about hitting it if I have to move some stuff around. So today's water block that we will be using is Corsair's Hydro X. I believe this is the X5. Don't quote me on that. Also lapped. Did not have to do a whole lot on this, which is kind of nice. The back plate that I will be using is just a generic back plate, not the one that came with it. The one that came with it I use for different boards. This one here I don't have to switch over. It's already set for the motherboard. You can pick up these generic AMD Intel switch over from LGA 1150 all the way up to 1700, and even the LGA 1366, which is kind of nice. And that will work for this Corsair block. So we're gonna need fittings for this block. The fittings that I use are a brand called like Dracula, basically. A Dracinia. It's a cheaper kind of brand off of Amazon, but they have also fittings that I like and are very nice for maybe people that maybe not have strong fingers that can maybe put on the fitting on proper. And those fittings are here. So these fittings right here are the brands I was telling you about. The nice thing about this brand is the inside diameter. Not sure it picks it up on camera very well here. Is not a circle. It's actually a 3/8 inside diameter for an Allen wrench. So you can put an Allen wrench into it. Won't spin anywhere. The appropriate size for your pipe too. That way you can thread it on a lot easier. You don't want to torque it with this side. You want to just lightly seat it with this side. It's kind of nice about these fittings. So, got this here. Hard to show. How about that? That's pretty good. Spin them on. The ones that are on, fairly seated. Just gonna grab the Allen wrench. Just give it a nice slug more. Just a little bit more, not much. Just enough to fully secure. And there's the fittings on, ready to go for the block. The back plate. So some of these, and this one probably did come with it. This is an older universal backplate. Most of them now, when you buy them, they're about $10, $15 for a backplate. They come with a 3M sticky pad on this side, so that way when it goes onto the board, like so, the 3M sticky pad sticks to the actual metal here, which is kind of nice. So when you get it all seated in, you don't have to worry about holding it like this, which is not hard to do. Just put it down like that. Just put it back down like so. Voila, all ready to go. Now, next step you're gonna want to have is thermal paste. This is my own mix of thermal paste. You'll get down the line about how I make my own thermal paste. It's quite simple, very easy to do. You don't need to spend the money right away on your extreme cryonaut. You don't need to spend that kind of money right off the bat. Just get some MX4 or some thermal take, or some just cheaper stuff for now that has a decent thermal transfer, and they'll let you know on the packaging. Yeah, so next step will be next step. works here. Definitely good. Can be kind of difficult to get off the thermal paste off the stick. You can just wipe it onto the cooler, which is a flat surface. A little bit easier than trying to do it on there. Just to get the most, less waste. Now we can install the block. Let's try this one time. Okay. Oh. Bum, bum. Bum, bum. Squeaker. There you go. All right. Once you see it down nicely to where it's fairly snug, not going to be playing around, make sure that pressure is nice and steady on this. These are fairly big CPUs, so they do need quite a bit of pressure to put down. Don't go clamp them down with some sort of clamp or anything like that. Don't be doing that. So once that's all done, our next step that we will be doing is assembling more fittings. We are going to be assembling fittings on 240mm radiator and a Corsair D5 pump. Corsair D5 pump needs a little cleaning, but that'll be for another video. There is an easy way. Well, Corsair makes it quite difficult to actually clean this, so you have to have certain tools to actually do it, as there's multiple tools you might need for it. Okay. Alright, so the fittings that I have here are, I believe, the same brand, but they're not the same manufactured piece. It's a different product. These do not have the 3/8, but they have a nice knurling on them where you can put them quite tight. So on this D5 pump here, what I like to use is this outlet and this inlet. Just for this kind of like testing and that, makes it more stable when it's on a table. So that way the tubes that come out of it go where it needs. And we got a 240 mil radiator right here. Could be in better shape. Some dented fins, but that's the process of moving around. This is not expensive either. You can pick up these for about $40. It's a 240 mil, which is plenty enough for a lot of coolants for anything, GPU or CPU. Or if you want to water cool your RAM, water cool your RAM. Now what I find on the radiators is you have to put a lot more torque as it's brass to brass, or brass to like brass with a nickel plating. This here just has a light blackened finish, so the brass will come through after a couple uses. Booyah! So make sure if you're going to put on a radiator, give it a good tight. Never use vice grips. As one thing you do not want to use. It marks it up, and you can actually destroy the threads with this. Try to use your hand. If you have a problem putting on the thread, if it doesn't feel like you're getting good grip, what you can do is you can grab a nice dry towel and or napkin, like a bounty wipe, and you can just grab a piece of that and you can wind it around, crunch it up, wind it around, and then give it a good tight, and it should go a little bit more for you. That will help for these fittings. That way it's no damage. I would even put some sort of fabric and then a vice grip or anything because of the extra torque. That's why the Allen key, you just want to do, like I said, a nice little twist. Very, very little. Alright, so all the fittings are on now. We can start putting on the tubes. We are just using soft tube as these are barb fittings. So we got all cut length already. I am reusing my tubing for now. This tubing is a very good silicone type tubing, and the price since I bought this per 25 feet, the price has gone up 3 times the amount. So getting 25 feet of this style, of this kind of silicone tubing is now like $60 for 25 feet, which is crazy in my opinion. So I'll reuse. Eventually I will have to completely cut off the ends, make these shorter. As you can see, I don't have very much, so sparing. So we'll just make sure we see everything here. Now, the main thing we want to do here is have a decent setup. Move this over here. That way we can get some sort of path that we know we're going to have stuff. I would like the stuff to be like this. Possible. Something like so. So this one's the out. Now before you start connecting all these pieces together, you're going to need the other pieces for it. Another reason why I like that one kind of fitting is has this, yes, but it also uses O-rings for extra compression on fitting. Domed out, it's quite nice. So for the fittings that we did not put on the CPU block, they just have a compression fitting, just goes on, you screw it on. That's it. They work great, You find them for a good price for about $12. $12 for two, I believe. One all set there. That is in. This is in. Perfect. So out. These lovely pieces. So this fittings that we put on the CPU here, we're gonna need the O-ring and then the threaded cap after. So much easier to do when not in the case. Eventually we'll be doing hardline tubing, showing people how to do hardline tubing, different ways than some people, which is okay, a little difference, okay. Nice and snug. This one goes over here. Oh yeah, we got it. All right. In cap. Ring. Go. And we just secure that. Try not to cross thread anything. Turn back, and then once you feel a little click down, that means the thread's on the right spot and you can start tightening. Right. Probably be good for that. Okay, so now our last line, which will go from the radiator back into the inlet. One of the reasons why I like this type of silicone tubing from this one brand, I will put in a link below, just so if it's ever on sale, that is a really good brand. 3/8 inside, 1/2 inch outside. It's nice and soft, but you can also get some really tight bends with that. That's the reason why I like it. It's really good. Good stuff. Alright. Make sure everything's good, everything's on. Okay. So we won't need to fill it up right away. What I'm going to be doing is putting on the fans and putting on the RAM next. And even put in the RAM next. Again, The slots from the farthest away from the CPU in is the way you want to go. This is a 6 slot motherboard or a triple chan. So you put 3 in it, and you put them all on the right side. Dun, dun, dun. For the fans that we're going to be using, it's just these Thermaltake fans with a Y splitter to 1, because it's easier, takes up less space. Now normally I would put the fans the other way, well that way, but now with the fans the other way to look nicer. And I'm just going to use pumps that put it on somewhere. Works. You need a power supply. Don't get a cheap power supply. Get a somewhat decent one, and go way above the wattage that you'll be going to, because some of these CPUs, GPUs, when you start overclocking, they can use a lot, and I'm talking a lot of watts. The 650, the CX650M from Corsair will be plenty for what I'm doing here for today. Most of the brands I have for power supplies EVGA, but I've always liked this smaller form factor. Bing, bing. Bing, bing. Go through. There you go. Looks good too. That works. Bam, bam. Oh, shit. Get under. So I am going to be using this test bench for a little bit, so do want to have somewhat nice cable managed, basically. That's what you want. Try to cable manage your stuff so that way everything looks good. It's in place where you want it. Nice. Okay. That separated. There. Blam. So for this Corsair D5 pump, their X series, the Hydro series, they come with a tympan, basically. It's a thermometer, and you can put it in so that way it does tell you temperatures of the water. I just use it for plugging up the hole for now because I don't have extra plugs. I have multiple kits of custom water loops, but I don't have extra plugs. Alright, to fill up your D5 pump reservoir here, you're going to want one of these. If you're really steady, it's good, but if you spill anything, you kind of can't overclock for that period of time, so it's not recommended. So normally what you can do is take the power from the motherboard, so you don't want any power on the motherboard, so don't plug these in at all. And you can shunt mod over the black and the green wire with like a pin or something like that, and that will turn it on. Or it's not recommended, of course. Or you can buy a plug that actually clips onto it. That will actually like clip right onto it, which is kind of nice. Or a clip that actually clips right onto it. So power. Power here. Pump has power. You have your hand on the power switch for when this runs out. You probably won't be able to keep up maybe with these D5 pumps. We'll see. Not bad. Kept up all right. Just be careful going fast filling it up. You don't want to splash any water anywhere. So on a fresh fill, what I like to do is tighten the lid on, and then about hour later, while it's running for that hour, I'll unscrew it, give a couple flicks. That'll help relieve some of the air bubbles trapped to the side, which just happens. Good. Looks good. No leaks. So without the header on this pump, it just goes full bore. So I'll just let it run for a while, and that's the way I kind of like to run it. Don't like to control it, just let it do its thing. Everything feels good though. Should get all the air bubbles. Looking good though. Right. And that's it for today. This is a fairly long video. It took me quite a while to set up this one, that's for sure. Hopefully you guys got a good, decent view. Hopefully I got some good close-ups on that too. It's fairly easy to start off on a custom water loop. You don't have to spend all that money. Amazon does have used deals. Those used products are fairly good price. I have bought some used parts before from them and no issues. And like a third of the price, which is great. This is something I'm going to be working on for a while now. I'm just going to be going over the X5650 here, going through the tunes that I had set previously for some other records that I was doing. But this is for competition, so I'm going to have to switch some stuff and hopefully beat some records. We'll see what we can do. We're just doing it on water, so we'll see. If you guys like this kind of content, if you like watching these PCs being built, custom water loops being built, I will be making a hardline one eventually here soon. I would like to say soon. Eventually I will be. I already have the kit and all of that. It's more or less getting the secondary PC. So that way I can have a secondary PC for recording and for streaming, as it is quite taxing on my main PC, and I would like to have my main PC for a while. And my main PC is my gaming PC and everything else. This PC has been great for the years that I've had it, but it's time I get a new one, and more or less a new one for a secondary PC for better streams, better content, and hopefully you guys like. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to get her done. Yeah.